I was the first person in our family, the first point of contact to find out that both my mom and dad were killed and that my brother was in emergency surgery to save his life, meaning that I then had to be the one to call and tell our family the situation and what was happening. Further updates were provided via the book face, and then I printed them and compiled them because I didn't know if we would need the updates for court, of which I am now sharing in the respect to education, awareness, and hopefully prevention of the next impaired driver by sharing the impact that it had on just our family. I shared April 24th yesterday, and then through the night of April 24th, I had to call people like my grandfather to tell him that his children were now gone. I think that is the absolute worst phone call that I have ever had to make, to be the person to not only say and share, hey, my parents are gone, but that had to take a back burner to, I am so sorry, your children are gone. And it came out a lot different than that, I promise you. But we are into April 25th, and I found out that I wasn't allowed to go see my brother until he was out of surgery. Keep in mind, this was also during very strict visitation rights and COVID time, because our state was very strict. So all through the night, if people were active on Facebook and I saw them online, I then said, hey, can you take a minute for a phone call? So I was letting people like my parents' siblings and their friends and other family know what was going on. He was in surgery for quite a while. Part of his intestines was removed. He had drains put in, and then other organs were relatively okay, but they were pretty well bruised, and he was really inflamed. Like, I don't even think there are words to describe how much bigger his stomach got because of the inflammation. It was ridiculous. They said that they weren't going to be doing surgery on his broken leg and that he has possibly broken ribs. And I find this quite ironic that I gave this update at the time. Not quite ironic, but at the time we thought he was possibly going to be leaving the ICU that day. Flash forward, he was there for 3 more weeks. Over the course of April 25th, people came in to speak to him, but really who they were speaking to was me. So we spoke to dietitians, physical therapists, occupational therapists, nurses, the surgeon, doctors, and probably a few others that I actually don't know the names of. As each new expert comes in the room, I find out more and more. His arm, leg, and ribs are broken. He'll need surgery to repair his arm this week. He's in a lot of pain and having trouble breathing. His heart rate is not coming down, so they decided to keep him in the ICU for 1 more night. Again, it was a lot more than 1 more night. He kept coming in and out of it, so really all I could answer questions for him was that he was in a car crash and that he's in the hospital. He knew his name and he knew that he was in a hospital room, but every time he woke up, I had to keep retelling him and confirming with him that this is real, this is happening, you're in a hospital room. He's very upset that he's hurting so bad and can't get comfy. He asked to come back home to his bed. He's angry that he can't move. We did have an emotional breakdown because he wants more ice, more water, more movement, more meds, but he can't have any more of that right now. He has a lot of snotty gunk in his throat that we are working on trying to get out, but he doesn't have the core strength to even cough. With his hyperhidrosis, which he's had since he was a kid, it is really uncomfortable and he's hot and he's sweaty. He's covered head to toe with ice bags and he just wants more ice. His nurse had left for just a couple minutes to take care of an incoming patient, and he thought that he was gone for at least an hour. He had absolutely no sense of time, and I think the no sense of time and the inability to move was the worst mental prison for him. Well, I guess it's both. It was a mental prison and a physical prison that absolutely no human on this earth deserves. I'm allowed to come back and see him tomorrow morning at 5:30 a.m., but it sucks to leave him there because he keeps asking me if I'm still in the chair when I'm next to him. I cry at the thought of the next time he asks for me, but I'm not there. He wants the head of the bed constantly moved, and I can't do that for him. He wants the ice moved, and I can't do that for him. All of this physical pain and emotional pain and mental pain for him, and then kind of a secondhand emotional and mental pain for me, watching him go through this, knowing the big picture, is something that nobody should ever have to suffer through, especially as, you know, they were completely innocent, and this is all due to an impaired driver. And it's such a senseless thing that shouldn't have ever happened.